Welcome back to another episode of Questions with Crocker with me, Dr. Crocker, and my husband, Shane. How are you?
I'm here.
You were not with me last week,
Mm-mm.
and we're actually, 3 weeks past
I have no idea.
when we normally do this? We've been out of practice for 3 weeks and trying to get back on track. So if you are new to this podcast, it's called Questions with Crocker because we are the Crockers. I'm Dr. Crocker, an emergency veterinarian, and we own a general practice together. Shane is an entrepreneur, love of my life, golf connoisseur. How would you describe yourself?
Keep going.
Keep going. We've been married almost 20 years and we have 2 crazy kids and our life is a little wild. I actually started this podcast because I get a lot of questions on social media about how we do it all, about our practice, and I wanted to be able to share some of that knowledge and information with people. But with the season of life that we've been in, it's been hard to do it weekly. The good thing is people have been great and they listen when we put it out, no matter when it is. So, and you've been here some, you haven't been here other times. What all have you been up to? What projects have you been working on, huh?
We built a golf simulator / movie theater room. That took some time.
We did. I think it was Father's Day when you kind of mentioned it and I greenlit the golf sim room, and all of a sudden, part of my garage was gone and we have a golf simulator room. And I will say it's very cool and it's nice when the weather's bad even to be able to hit golf balls. And for movies, it is epic. We watched Jumanji in it the other night. The sound was amazing. It was great. But one of the best things I think that's come out of it is our daughter's actually hitting golf balls with you.
She's in there hitting golf balls right now, actually.
Yeah. And
your son hit golf balls yesterday and put the first dent in the wall.
That's amazing. But I mean, you've always wanted the kids to like to golf, and especially Izzy, because you always talk about how golf, if you're a girl, can be a sport that like you get scholarships with and, go to college. So do you feel like your plan is working?
We'll see. She's starting to get frustrated already, so.
Oh, yeah. I think she maybe, I don't know, which one of us is more patient? I think
Neither one of us have a lot of patience.
She's screwed. She's not going to be patient anyway.
0 chance of that.
So yes, she's hitting golf balls. She even had her friend come over who actually does play golf and has a coach, and they hung out and hit golf balls, and that was really fun just to have the 2 of them here and be hanging out. So I am excited, and you know what really I was excited about is to see how quickly, when you put your mind to it, you can accomplish a project. And I have some projects for you. So I was just
It's very selective in my project basis that I want to jump into.
I was telling our practice manager that. I was like, I have so many things and projects, and it was nice to see when he's really focused that he can get it done. So I know you run several businesses. There's so much going on. But for our vet hospital, we've had a couple of things that have happened recently. So one of the really great ones is we added a mobile unit. We're only doing it 1 day a week, but we actually have appointments coming up this week. Very excited about it. And we're mainly doing it for in-home euthanasia and people that really need someone to come to their house. Maybe the owners themselves are elderly, or this week we actually have 2 spicy cat visits, so home visits to see if the cats maybe tolerate what needs to be done to them in home versus coming into the hospital, and also for really large pets that are hard to transport. So that's kind of what we're working on. I still really want the sick pets that might need blood work same day or x-rays to come in. And then ultimately, I actually want to use it to go to some of the local places that we have that are for like senior living and kind of service, a one-stop shop for some of those places where it's harder for people to get out and about, or maybe they don't have transportation to be able to take care of their pets. So I have a lot of ideas about it, but how are you feeling overall?
We have a van and it's wrapped.
It looks awesome. The wrap is so cool. Like every time I see it, it makes me happy.
Financial viability of this yet, but we'll see how it all unfolds.
I mean, mobile practice in general is financially supposed to be great.
I could see that.
But I don't know about mobile practice attached to a vet hospital. So I am interested to see how it goes. The thing that I just keep thinking about is what are new ways that we can reach clients, new and old, ways that we can, help the community. And I really think being able to go out to these places, and fortunate or not, it happened at a time that the vet shut down, which was a mobile company locally. So people actually in neighborhood groups have been asking for, someone who will come out and will do that service. Some of the other local mobile vets actually don't come this far. So I think it's a great opportunity for us to just continue to grow our business.
I think there's definitely a lot of opportunity. It needs to be new business that we otherwise would not get. But I think we're probably more efficient and probably make more money when you have people come to you. So
that's true.
We'll see how
You're kind of a Debbie Downer, but I know in my heart of hearts it's going to work.
That's why we're doing it.
It's going to be great. I'm very excited about it. And the wrap looks phenomenal. If y'all don't follow us on social media, at Alta Vista Animal, AWAH Vet is where you follow us, and you can actually see it on there. And actually, speaking of social media, you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Questions with Crocker, and you can watch us on YouTube. So if you like to watch your podcast, we are there. I actually just looked, and we have like 600 subscribers, which is great.
That's wild.
I know. I was excited.
We don't have 600 family members, so
I know
that's a plus.
It's not just friends and family, so that makes you feel a little bit better. Now, on the flip side of practice ownership, one of the things that I absolutely hate happened recently, and that was that I did have to let a team member go. And I think when you buy a practice or start a practice, you kind of have this vision of like, you're just going to grow this team and they're going to see the vision and everything is just going to work great in that regard. And the reality is this is not the first person that I've had to let go for whatever circumstances, but the reality is that not everyone is going to fit into your practice the way that you need them to, either culturally or skills-wise, or in this regard, just being reliable. That's just a huge factor for me. And I think, and I've been told that I'm a pretty laid-back owner when it comes to trying to support people no matter what's going on in their lives. And, if people have something going on where they do need a little extra time off or they need to change their schedule, I'm really accommodating. But we are a small team. And I really do have to have people there, especially during certain hours. And I'm really upfront about that. Like when I talk to people and I'm, interviewing them, I say one of my biggest things is reliability. And I think, when you go through the steps and you're writing people up and you're talking to them over and over, it's just so hard. And it's really hard to let go of like a skilled technician. Our dog is biting at himself. Ranger. Okay.
Yeah, my opinion has always been that there are times we have to downsize and let people go. But a majority of the time, people fire themselves. You don't really fire people. So you give people ample opportunities to understand what needs to be corrected. And if they can't correct that, then they've kind of made their own decision. So
I would agree with you. And, the interesting thing is someone that I had to let go of in the past for the same issue, but that was because of ongoing health things. And they really just needed some time off to kind of figure some stuff out. That person is actually coming back to rejoin our team. And everyone's really excited because they really enjoyed her and she's great. And so it kind of does feel a little full circle just in the fact that, I kind of had to do this and have tough conversations. And then we were able to stay in contact and support someone and, they're coming back to the team. So, but I just think, and I try to explain this to new practice owners, there's so many ideas and there's so much excitement around different things. And you really think, you're going to meet amazing people and be like, this is an awesome team. And there's just going to be some people that it just doesn't work with. And it's heartbreaking and it's hard, but it's just a part of it. And I have found waiting too long, I think, is worse and makes the overall team more frustrated and toxic versus just pulling the trigger early on.
Hire slow, fire fast.
Yes. You've said that many times. I like set expectations and then follow through with what the consequences will be. Kind of like being a parent, right? Like you don't want to tell your kid like,
can we fire our kids?
No. Some days I wish. Yeah. But you don't want to be the parent that always says like, I'm going to take this away if you do that again. And then you don't do it because then your kids know like it's not going to be true. So,
and then the rest of the team sees, that you're being too lenient. So.
Yeah. You have to be careful of that. So that is something that has been tough recently. But on the flip side, we are continuing to grow. We've had some really great cases. We actually did a case recently with one of our rescue partners, and it was a very cute dog named Eloise. I posted about her, and she was found with like a soul and face, and she almost looked like, do you know in Goonies, like the guy in Goonies that like had that? Yeah, she kind of looked like that. Her face was so swollen and crazy looking, and she was pitiful looking, and she'd been on antibiotics for a while at the shelter. She was pulled by one of the rescues because she wasn't getting better and brought to us. We actually found her jaw had been broken, and we don't know if she was hit or what happened. And then she had a
Was she eating and stuff?
She was eating a little bit, but not a ton. I mean, it's funny because that's actually a good point. People will say, well, my dog's still eating when we talk about like dental disease and teeth stuff. And I'm like, yeah, they have to survive. It doesn't mean their teeth don't hurt or their mouth doesn't hurt, right? But like, they're like, I have to live. So if a pet's not eating, that's actually really serious because most of them are going to have that desire. Yeah. And she was super skinny. I mean, you could tell she hadn't been well taken care of. And so we had to do a lot to get the infection under control. We had to remove a broken tooth. The jaw was trying to heal and was still aligned, so we kind of left that alone. But we went to do her spay, and I mean, her uterus, there were so many adhesions, and you could just tell she had probably gotten pregnant and had a lot of C-sections, so she was probably used for breeding, and then for whatever reason was abandoned. And she's the sweetest dog ever. Like, if we didn't already have a Hot Mess Express dog, I would be like, we're bringing Eloise home because...
We do not need an Eloise.
I know.
We don't need a Ranger. We don't need a Bobby.
You haven't met her. You don't know. Like, I'm not usually like that with pets, but man, me and Eloise, we just bonded. Her little crooked face. And then over time, the last couple of weeks, it's gone down to normal, and she's eating like a champ, and she put weight on, and her spay went great, and she's just healed up, and it's just precious.
I love it.
And her little foster keeps sending me like videos of her like trotting around the house with her little pink bodysuit on, covering her incision. So I don't know. It's just one of those feel good cases where like literally if the rescue had not pulled her out of the shelter, she probably wouldn't be here anymore. And if our team hadn't taken it on as like a project, like she wouldn't be here. So it was very cool. If you want to see cute Eloise or you want to adopt her, you can contact Dallas Pets Alive.
Please adopt her.
Because you don't want her to come to our house. Okay, we actually, when we got married, or even when we were dating, we had a rule about bringing pets home. What was the rule?
Don't do it.
No. You said just make sure to like call and talk to me first.
No.
And honestly, I don't feel like you legitimately, like if I said I'm bringing a dog home, you wouldn't say no.
No.
But I do think knowing...
I'd give you hell for it, but I wouldn't say no.
Yeah. I do think knowing like I need to call Shane and talk to him about this probably makes me think twice about like what is our life? Because really I travel a lot. I'm gone. Like it just puts more responsibility on you bringing more animals into the household. And we already have one high needs dog and, you know, a cat that has some issues. So it wouldn't be fair. So don't worry. I'm not going to do it. Speaking of high needs dogs, so we have a Labrador and we make him throw up occasionally using the clever eye drops because he eats stuff he's not supposed to. So did I tell you about the lab in the ER the other day that I had to make throw up?
Yeah.
Okay. So he apparently has been in several times. I hadn't seen him before. Gorgeous dog. And the owner was like, he ate a tampon. Like, I know he did, and I know tampons are dangerous, and they are because they expand. So, like, they'll go into the intestines, and they'll expand with, like, the fluid in there, and they'll cause a blockage. And so he's like, I need the dog to throw up. And so another vet had started the case, and then she had to go into surgery, so I took it over. And she had given apomorphine, which is what we usually give. And this dog was just sitting there looking at us. And most dogs, like, start salivating like crazy. They're like burping, you know, and this dog was like looking at me like, what? Like, I'm not going to throw up. Because some dogs just have iron stomachs and it's really hard to get them to throw up. So I'm watching him and I'm like, well, I have another medication I can try. It's eye drops. And the owner's like, we've never had to do that before. This has always worked. And I said, well, he's had it quite a lot. I don't know what's going on, but like, we should try it. So we gave the eye drops and the dog maybe drooled a little, maybe burped a little, but like still really nothing. And I had him up. I was like jostling his belly. We were like trying everything we could. And finally I said, can you just walk him? Like, let's walk him and see if we get anything out. And so he got up and he threw up once. Okay. And I'm like, that's a lot of throw up. It's a lot of food and stuff. And what is that? So no tampon in everything he threw up, but there was a huge rubber ball. Like we were trying to look for the tampon, and he threw up a hard rubber ball, and it was like black and dark. I'm like, do you know where this is from? The owner's like, I have no clue. I have no idea where that is from. So then he walked him outside and he threw up again, and we finally like got the tampon too. But there was food wrappers in there. There was plastic, like these strands of plastic. And the owner's like,
They should probably like detox stuff like once a month.
I was like, maybe, yeah, just make him throw up occasionally to see what's in there. But I was like, I have no idea like how long this has been in there, but this ball has been there a long time. And it was just funny. And I told the owner, like, thank goodness he ate the tampon, so you got the ball out, because eventually, that could have caused a problem. But it was funny. So I posted the story, and everyone guessed immediately that it was a lab because, that's what those types of dogs do. But then I asked people, like, if they had ever made a pet throw up and then gotten back more than like what they, originally thought it would be. And so one person said that during a spay, so they were just going to spay the dog, and they found a stuffed toy and a huge piece of cloth in the stomach during the spay. One, when they made their dog throw up for something else, the dog threw up like 4 condoms at the same time. One threw up, they went to make them throw up, they ate an eyeglass cloth, and the dog threw up an entire Kong that had been missing for a month and had just been like hanging out in its stomach. The vet-eye guy, who's an ophthalmologist, said he pre-medded a dog for like an eye surgery, and it threw up a sock. And so he was like, we're going to hold on the eye surgery real quick. We're going to go x-ray and like make sure there's no other socks in there. One made a dog throw up for chocolate. They got back a sock, half of a toy ball, and another couple like cloth material things. And they were just trying to get the chocolate out. An avocado seed was what a doodle ate. And when they made it throw up, 7 painter's towels came out of the dog's stomach. So I was just reading all these and I was like, this is wild. This one, they made it throw up because the dog ate fruit salad that had grapes in it and they were worried about toxicity. And they threw up an entire hand towel with the fruit salad. So it was just funny, like how many of these pets had eaten more than one thing. And I mean, it makes sense, right? If they're there for one thing, it could be another. But I was cracking up because I was like, that's our dog. Our dog probably, I mean, he throws up occasionally and who knows what he's throwing up that he's actually eaten. So it was a good little story, and the owner was very thankful that we got out the ball and the tampon. So, okay. So is there anything you want to share? You doing good?
I'm good. Golf game sucks, but we've got no more excuses at this point.
Yeah. At this point, it's like you're practicing every day, so it should be getting better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, at least you bonding time with your family, with your daughter, like all that matters, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I did have a couple things. One, I recently saw a vet on social media and she was giving advice, and she's kind of a new grad, and she was saying, should you have a job in vet school, that someone had asked her, and she was like, the long short answer for me is no. And she kind of went into why, and that, you're already really busy and you have to study and you have a lot of things going on. And I thought that was an interesting perspective because I would say yes. And that's just because of my specific experience. But what would be your thoughts on if you were talking to somebody about having a job or not in vet school?
I would say no. I mean, I think vet school is your job and you need to treat it as such. So I wouldn't overburden yourself with another job. I don't think. I could understand having a job when you're in, undergrad.
Mm-hmm.
But I think once you get to professional school, you probably need to buckle down and concentrate on that. I understand the benefits of it, having spending cash and not having to take out as much loans to live and survive.
Yeah.
But it'd be tough.
So my answer is yes, because I think it depends on the type of job. Definitely in undergrad, I worked while I was in, undergrad, and I worked at a coffee shop. And so the hours were like flexible and I liked the extra money, like you said. But in vet school, I also had like paying jobs. Now, none of them were structured. They were all very flexible hours, but I worked for Dr. Cohen in Large Animal Hospital, and I did research projects. I got to do extra blood draw. I got to palpate mares. I got to scrape ovaries. Like I got to do a lot for research.
That makes sense. I was thinking more like traditional, like type stuff. But yes, I think something in your field that makes
more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of the student worker jobs that you can get like out of vet school or through your school have flexible hours. And so you can say, I can only work 10 hours a week or whatever it is. And really, if it's finals or something else, like a lot of them are going to work with you. But being able to work on research projects and actually get my name on research papers was really beneficial. I also did urine drug testing at horse shows. And so I would go and that paid great. It was like $20 an hour and that was years ago. And I would sit and just catch urine and they would test it. And it was like very straightforward, but it was cool to kind of learn all the rules around drug testing and horses. And yes, it took some hours, but it was good bonding with like the equine practitioners and hanging out. And then my favorite job was I actually was a large animal technician while I was in vet school. And I think that for me, it was great because when I got to clinicals, when I got to fourth year, I already knew everyone. Like I knew everyone in the large animal hospital. I knew all the practitioners. I knew all the technicians and I knew where everything was. And so my comfort level for fourth year was really high just because I already knew kind of how things went. And then the other thing was they were flexible with my schedule. And because I would say I don't require a lot of sleep. Like I just run extra hard, which recently we figured out I might actually have ADHD after our kid was diagnosed, but that's a whole nother conversation. But I always have a lot going on. And so for me, like going and working maybe late at night and getting a little less sleep, but in the large animal ER, I learned so much and it really helped me when I got into clinical. So I think that you can absolutely have a job, but I would definitely have it be something that's flexible and helps you in your career.
Agree.
But yeah, I wouldn't go just work some
unless you have
job.
to. I mean, sometimes you have to do
like financially, unless you have to. Absolutely. That's very true. Unless you, because, that's another thing. Someone was asking me what I thought about the student loan payment changes that it's been capped for grad school and vet school. And honestly, I have to say, I don't know enough about it to know what to say about it. I've heard a lot of mixed things about what the cap is actually, and then who it applies to and when it starts and when it doesn't, and what type of loans it applies to, if it is like federal loans versus like private loans. And so I wish I could give more feedback on that. I would have to look into it. I think Dr. Emily King actually made a couple good videos and talked about it on her podcast. So that might be a good place to reach out to and look at.
Yeah, I haven't read enough to know.
It doesn't affect me anymore.
Agreed.
Old now. Okay, so now we're going to get into some of the questions that people sent us. So at naturally.lena said, what is some recommendations for balancing your social life as a vet? What do you think? You're not the vet, but you're married to one.
I mean, prioritize having a social life. So meaning you could easily work all the time and not, prioritize that as being important, but you've got to set boundaries and say, one day a week I'm going to go hang out with friends, or 2 days a week I'm going to hang out with friends, whatever that looks like. But you just have to prioritize it and make it a priority.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people put too much pressure on themselves for like how much time they spend at work versus, other things. And for me, it's so different for everyone, like what you need to have your cup be full, because it might be that someone who is more introverted doesn't need as much of a social life, right? But someone like me who's extroverted, I love being around friends and I love going and do things with you. Like I just really like being around people. It's where I get my energy from. And so I would say that even if your social life is, I'm going to make sure I try to go to church every Sunday. I'm going to make sure I go to like this workout class, but I would try to have something set several times a week that you just are maybe even like paying for, right? Like if you pay for a gym membership or you pay for something, it's like, I have to go, I have to show up. And it just like gets you in the routine of it. But absolutely, if all you do is work and you don't have any sort of social life, you're going to burn out.
Yep.
So much faster. You might still burn out, but you'll burn out faster in that regard. So, because I was super social and I still burned out at one point. So, okay. And then at stat_vet said, how do you streamline management duties and minimize the amount of time it takes to run the practice? I have 2 practices. Congratulations. And I want to be more efficient.
Sounds like they already have a good idea how to do that.
Yeah, if they have 2 practices. What do you think? What are some of the things that help you? Because you do a lot of the management, I don't know, things I feel like that take time with finances and payroll and insurance and all that. So what has helped you be more efficient with all that?
I think first you have to whiteboard and then understand what your duties and responsibilities are going to be and what you're going to delegate. So you have to understand that. You have to delegate certain tasks to team members, but then also empower them to do that. I mean, you and I have had this conversation recently over hiring.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a manager over technicians, allow them to manage and hire the team and be in charge of it. You being in charge can set the vision and the culture and make sure that the hires fall underneath that umbrella. But you have to empower people to make decisions and delegate things to them.
Yeah, what you're referring to is recently our last couple hires, I actually didn't meet them in person before they were hired. So I helped do some of the initial like phone interviews, but for their working interviews, I was either traveling or I was coming off overnights. And I felt like I had to be there to meet them in person. And you made the great point of, we have somebody who's managing these teams and they should really be the ones to have the input and the team should have a lot of input. And so basically at the end, they either said, they said they're great, we love them. And one that has already started has been a shining star and been amazing. And then the other one is starting this next week.
Yeah, you don't want to be a bottleneck to every decision that has to be made. So you have to delegate and allow people to make decisions and empower them to do so. And understand that not everything is going to be 100% like you would do it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still going to be okay, right? As long as you control the vision and the culture and everything is still flowing, it's going to be okay. You also have to create, SOPs, standard operating procedures. Those don't necessarily have to be in writing, but it helps if they're in writing. And that allows, as you grow, to have processes that are alike and that you can replicate easily. Sometimes you get in the mix of stuff and everybody's kind of doing their own thing. But if you standardize that, that's going to allow you to grow and scale.
Can you give
faster.
a specific example of that?
Your intake process when a customer walks in the door. What happens? How does it all flow? Who's doing the check-in? What are they asking? What are they doing? Are they putting them in the room immediately? If you have that CSR out one day and somebody's going to step in, you don't want them creating their own process, right? It's a standard process that everybody follows, the same team follows. Somebody calls in for an appointment. It's the same process that everybody follows to make sure that everybody's being scheduled accordingly. So you have to create standard processes that everybody can follow. I think about like McDonald's. You can stick anybody in there to flip fries, right? Because it's very standardized. You do this, this, and this for this amount of time, and you can put anybody in there and they can do it. So when you create a business and build a business and scale a business, you have to have those operating procedures in place.
What about things like payroll and
that's the other thing.
Taxes we outsource?
I was going to say you have to automate as much as you can. So even like paying bills, you've got 100 bills you have to pay. Well, 75% of those can be automated where they automatically hit your credit card every month. And then once a month, you review your reports to see, are we overpaying in certain areas? But you don't have to sit there and write checks for every one of those. Payroll's the same way. You could sit there and cut payroll checks yourself, or you can automate 90% of that and have it roll right through QuickBooks or use a employment type firm to do all that. So a lot of things that you can automate, try to figure out as much to automate as you can.
I think inventory is another big thing that like sometimes I see practice owners trying to also like manage inventory. And I think that's a horrible idea. I really think having somebody who is designated for inventory and is really focused on that and is really counting and kind of seeing what we need and don't need is helpful. Because
you're delegating again to somebody to do that. Now you're still managing that through reports, right?
Right.
You look at your balance sheet at the end of the month and say, wait a minute, why am I have, went from 300,000 in inventory to now 500,000 worth of inventory? What's happening here, right? So at some point you may have to get involved if your numbers start shaking out crazy, but you have to delegate and allow people to do things.
Well, and having like a practice manager do it, they're also the contact for the reps. And if there's like a special running or there's something new, I think that they can really be on top of that stuff. When you're trying to juggle so many things, I think you're going to drop some of the balls. And dropping the ball with inventory can really affect things. I also have heard of like practice owners being really reactionary where maybe we're having a slower month. So like, I don't want to buy as much stuff, right? But then you're all of a sudden there one day and you're like, where's all my stuff? And it's like, well, you told us not to buy anything or not to spend money. And so again, having someone who kind of knows the ebbs and flow and can just kind of.
And again, standard operating procedure around that, right?
Yeah.
You've got par levels that you've set that as your business grows, those par levels change, but we should keep X number of this in stock at all times.
Mm-hmm.
When it starts hitting that par level, then you reorder, right? Or something takes longer to get in than something else so that you want to have more inventory, in place. But allowing somebody to, again, delegate and power to make decisions, but then also to monitor, certain procedures that you have in place is going to help you scale.
And there are so many trainings and things that you can do out there. Like I know that our practice manager has done a couple inventory trainings that were really helpful and then did some stickers to see how quick things were going. And like it has really tried to like tighten it down as much as they can. And I know that there's trainings like Vetfolio has a training for practice owners, practice managers about all that too. And it goes really into efficiency and like you said, like setting up standard operating procedures. So if you're looking to be efficient, there's so many tools out there that can really help you.
Yeah, especially with technology. That's going to be my third point is to utilize technology. I mean, there's things you can do with AI today.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things we're looking at with another business we just did is we moved to a different credit card company. It's called Ramp. A Ramp allows you to have virtual credit cards you can set up. So I can have one credit card for, I'm trying to think about what we spend money on, Hills. One credit card for, what's our blood company?
Antec.
One credit card company for
Covetrus,
et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And then you can categorize those automatically. So now I don't have to dig every month a credit card report and manually enter all those in so that goes into our QuickBooks. I can set that up where each credit card has a limit to it. It's attached to a certain customer. It gets billed to that and then automatically coded and pushed directly into QuickBooks. So it takes something that may take you 30 minutes to an hour to do once a month to reconcile. Now that's all gone. You're reconciling 90% of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's things like that in tools and AI and other technology you can use to streamline a lot of these things that are manual processes today.
I think another big thing that people don't think enough about is marketing, and having somebody help with that is beneficial. And to me, it's like a trial, right? We recently had somebody who offered to do Google Ads for us, and I was kind of trying to do it, not really sure how to do it, not really sure how to even tell if it was going well. And so I said, let's try it. Let's trial it. And it sounded expensive at first, but then the way that they've improved our Google Ads and like the amount of calls that we're getting and the way that the marketing is going, it has been well worth it. And investing with somebody who really knows what they're doing, I think is one of the best ways to be more efficient. Like giving it to somebody and paying them for their skill set is the same as us telling a pet owner, like, no, trust us. Like, trust us with your pet. We know what we're doing. And yeah, sometimes it might cost a little more than what the holistic, person online is telling you, but we're going to make sure we do it right and we do it the right, do it well. And it's worth the money and it's valuable. And so I really think that's one of the big things to look at is, do we want to spend more money as practice owners? No. But is it going to give us time to work on something else that is going to be more important and it should be a bigger priority to us? And is there somebody who can do it so much better that it actually will end up making you more as a business owner? So those are some of the tips and tricks.
And the person has 2 hospitals. I mean, again, they obviously kind of know what they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
but I would also maybe set up designated days or block my days out where I'm going to spend a certain amount of time on that one practice.
Yeah.
And then maybe that practice gets Monday, the next practice gets Tuesday, right? That way you're not jumping back and forth and never really cross anything off your list. Most things can be pushed for a day anyway. So I would spend a day on this practice, the next day, maybe Wednesday, solely on the other practice, right? So
do you do that with our businesses?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
I have certain days that are kind of designated.
And
now, with that said, there's fires that we put out every once in a while that pop up, but try to split it up where this business gets all my attention this day, and the next business gets most attention the next day, et cetera.
Well, when we buy practice number 2, we can do that.
I'm ready.
All right. All right. Okay. I think that's going to wrap us up. Hopefully that was helpful. We appreciate you guys listening or watching us on YouTube. Again, you can listen to us on Apple or Spotify. We would love you to leave a review. Let us know what you thought. Give us some feedback. Or if you have any questions, you can send them to us over social media at Questions
And
With
by
Crocker.
us, don't send it to me.
Oh, send them to me. Sorry.
Yes.
You don't even know what a DM is.
Zero idea.
And I just appreciate you guys being here, being patient with us through this life stage that is a wild and crazy time. I enjoy this podcast. I enjoy talking to you and sharing our lives. And enough people told me it was valuable to them. So we'll keep it up for now, and we'll see you guys next time.